He's back. That little adorable pixelated sociopath is back. Turnip Boy robs a bank. Oh. I won't bury the lead. I I loved this game. I love this franchise. If you aren't already aware, this is a sequel to Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion, which I loved. Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion is gorgeous, adorable pixel art. And that first game was very much sort of a top-down Zelda, sort of Link to the Past style game. Um, and it is ridiculous and absurd and realizes that what it's doing is stupid. And there is some more going on underneath the surface, but not in a, ooh, we have hidden depths way, more in a, oh, no, we're just gonna go bonkers with some of this way. And I really enjoyed the heck out of the first one. Now, this new one has a bit of a genre shift. It's the same perspective, it's the same kind of top-down perspective, and it's the same art style, but this one's a twin-stick shooter. So rather than sort of working your way through with the, you're swinging your sword and you're gathering, things in dungeons for new abilities. This is a twin-stick shooter with some roguelike elements. So what this is instead, it's much more action heavy than the previous one was. You're going into a bank. You're, as the title says, you're robbing a bank. You are going in, guns blazing. You have a limited amount of time before security gets ramped up. And so you have that amount of time to get as far into the bank as you can, literally shaking down clients of the bank, because Turnip Boy shakes them and money comes out. Shaking them down, taking out what security is already there, and gathering, snatching, grabbing whatever you can to take it back to your base to buy upgrades, buy more health, buy better weapons, buy more time, and then go back and do it again. So that's sort of the roguelike aspect. There isn't a ton of randomization in it. There's a little. So there's elevators, and basically each run, which elevators take you where, resets to a randomized from an options list. So, like, sometimes you'll take this elevator and it'll take you to the locker room. You take this you come back next run, the same elevator is going to take you to the place with the DJ. I can't even explain that. It's a thing. So, there's that, or it takes you to this office or to that floor. So that is the randomized elements, but none of the actual layouts are random, which honestly I think is better in the case of this game. Like, the roguelike elements are very slight. It's enough to make it so, like, you can't go on full automatic every run because you don't know what elevators you're going to get. But if you're also, like, really focusing on processing the main plot and not doing any of the side stuff, you can largely ignore the elevators if you don't want to get involved with them. But the way that it works is that's generally how you both pick up and also end up finding stuff for the various little side quests, because you can stop and interact with characters, find out, well, they want this, or this person wants that from this person, and then you go find them. And it's rarely something that you're going to, like, lose time to, partially because, like, you're on this for a limited amount of time anyway. You're going to go back. So when you come back again, maybe the floor you need to go to turn this quest in will be the one that shows up in the elevator lobby right off the bat. And you would just go, oh, cool, I'll turn this in and take care of that while I'm here. The difficulty on it is very fair, I feel. It's not a particularly difficult game. Like the previous game in the series, it's about 6 to 8 hours, depending on how thorough you want to be in wrapping up the various side quests and getting all the story of all the characters, which I personally do recommend doing because I think they're often very, very funny, very absurd, very stupid. Like, this game, let me be very clear. This game is stupid, but it knows it, and it leans into it just the perfect amount. I really enjoy this series, this franchise, and I really hope they get to keep making more of these. This is this is just a blast. If you're here for a really intense challenge or like the kind of rogue-like game that you just are going to sink forever into because you just one more go, one more go, one more go, which was like, say, Hades or Rogue Legacy 2 did for me. It's not that. This is a limited use thing. You're not meant to keep playing this infinitely. You can get the story in and then keep playing a bit more after that to max out some things and wrap up the last few side quests. But it's not something you're meant to keep coming back to indefinitely. Like I said, 6 to 8 hours and you'll probably be done with it. So if what you normally like from a twin stick shooter or anything with roguelike elements like, I don't know, Dead Estate, which I played a couple years ago, this is not going to serve as that sort of, let me go again, let me go again, let me go again. You'll have that initially as you're like building stuff up, but like it's going to wear off kind of quick. Like honestly, one weekend and most players will probably be done with this, but that one weekend's going to be a blast. So there are some like things that I personally, as someone who isn't here for the challenge, who isn't here to like get the perfect run and I'm not trying to like speed run or anything. There's a lot of things that I think people who are here for a challenge, and again, if you're here for a challenge, why are you playing Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion or Turnip Boy Robs a Bank? But if you are, there's a lot of things that might strike you as like, oh, that's soft, that's scrub nonsense. But honestly, I appreciate it because it fit the kind of style that this game was. And that's stuff like when you have dialogue with characters, the counter that's counting down until the security ramps up stops. The counter stops and you get to just have the dialogue. Then when you're out of the dialogue, counter starts again. The counter actually stops during boss fights, which I also appreciate because it's possible to get into a boss fight by accident, especially after you've already beaten them once. I had that happen. I stumbled into the boss arena and accidentally set off the boss fight when I didn't mean to. After I'd already beaten him once before, so I didn't need to do it again. But that happened, but I noticed the timer stopped during the boss fight. So I didn't completely blow the run, and I wasn't going to run out of time in the middle of the boss fight either. So these are things that, again, they make it easier. If you think games being made easier is for babies, I don't know why you're playing this game in the first place, but for me, given the nature of this game and what it's going for and the mood and the feel that it wants you to have, I think these are good quality of life choices. There's one complaint I'm going to have, though, because this was a game that I loved until one specific thing. This is like at the very end of the game. Game developers. This is not the first time I've had to say it, and I will keep saying it. If you have a final boss or final area or final challenge that is meant to ramp up and be more difficult than anything else that came previously, in and of itself, that is absolutely fine. Many games end with a final boss or final gauntlet or whatever it is that is more difficult than the rest of the game. It's like a culmination of everything you've done up to now. Now, show us what you can do. And it's fine to ramp up the challenge and make it harder in that final stretch. But if you do that, do not put the checkpoint before an unskippable cut scene. Because I died not too many times around, but during the final stretch, I died, again, not even numerically that many times, maybe 6 or 7 times trying to get through the final stretch. But I got really, really irritated by it because when I started the run again, you made me sit through the goddamn cutscene every time. I couldn't skip it. The best I could do was mash the next text box button, which still ate up a crap ton of time. If you're going to make it that difficult, then you need to let me fully skip the cut scene. And if that's been patched in since that you can fully skip as opposed to just make it go faster, great. It should have been there from the beginning. And if you're going to make it unskippable, then you cannot ramp up the difficulty so much that I'm going to have to take 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times to try it, because the acceptable level of frustration is you exceed it when you jerk me around for that amount of time each time. This is the exact reason why I didn't bother. I gave up trying to beat the final boss in Super Mario, in Paper Mario, The Thousand Year Door, which was a wonderful game, but that final boss had an starting cutscene that went on forever, and it had a mid-fight cutscene that went on forever. And ultimately, I gave up trying to beat that boss. Not because I thought I could never do it, but because I was so sick of having to wait for the goddamn cutscenes to play out. Don't do that. Obviously, that one thing really ticked me off. And game developers, if you're watching this, you are very lucky that you did that at the very end of the game, and it was clearly the very end of the game, and I liked it enough that I powered through regardless. But if you watched me on Twitch, I was having fun, like, this is tougher. But then as each time it kept happening, the time that I actually beat the thing, I was dead silent because I wasn't having fun. Because the knowledge that I would have had to sit through that cutscene again made it not fun for me to try and beat. It made it stressful in a way the game had not been up to that point, and not in a fun, exciting, oh crap way. So, don't do that. If you'd pulled that nonsense earlier in the game, I might have bailed on the whole thing. So you're just lucky you did it at the end. Okay. I know I went off a little bit, but that really irritates me. That having been said, that literally one nitpick aside, I love this game. I love this franchise. I want there to be more. Please continue. This series is great. And as games get recognized more as art and they tell deep and meaningful and, really in-depth stories and really examine the human experience and give us deep melancholy notions and give us these deep looks into characters or human psyche. Let's not forget that video games can still be very, very stupid. And in the best possible way. It's okay for a game to be stupid. This is the best kind of stupid game. I love this. Turnip Boy robs a bank. Have you played it? What did you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. How much you want to bet people are going to tell me? You could skip the cutscene if you just hit blah button. Except, I really don't. For once, I feel confident that wasn't the case because, I legitimately pushed every button just to see if it would skip the thing as completely. And at least at the time I played it, it didn't. But share your thoughts. Patreon pays the bills. I did play this on Twitch. The link for that is in the description, as well as other stuff that I do. Don't worry too much about it, though. We take a relaxed attitude around here, so you can just come on back next time you need a break. And I'd like to thank my highest supporting patrons: Robin Moore, Zubin Lukfula, Goddess Elida, Oliver B., Turok, the thing that goes doink in the anime, Ruth, Solitary Pictures, Ulrich Bogdan, Geek Filter, Linda Walters, Jen, Auntie808, Becky Sparks, Frenabulax the Poodle, Robin Powell, T-Love, Tracy Scrabbit, Angry Casperol, Dave Hall, White Bearish, Rosalind Bennett, Pal Barabajagal, and Mara G. Yes, we do have new rats in the house. Whoa, you want it? We actually have two. This is Brownie. I couldn't get Sprite to come out, but say hi. Thanks for the support.